Okay, hi everybody. This is Christy Cook, the creator of the Pillars of Genius method. And today I have with me Lucas Roberts, who's the president of MacInHome.com. And what we are going to do today is I'm going to assist Lucas in pulling out a couple of his perfect match client dialogue, because we really need this to work on three things. The first thing is the elevator pitch. The second thing is the homepage of your website. And the third thing is the beginning of your presentations, which Lucas does quite a few of. So Lucas Roberts is a graduate of the Pillars of Genius Bootcamp. And I've done his work, or I've hired him to actually help me. So Lucas, why don't you tell us about your company and about your Pillars of Genius that you discovered through the bootcamp. So let's start there, because we always have to start with what are your Pillars of Genius. That's what we have to start with. So let's start there.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you, Kristen. I'm honored to be on the show here. My business is called Mac and Home. I have a team of consultants who run around town and basically deliver into your home or into your office professional level Mac training, consulting, and technical support. I especially love working with entrepreneurs and people who are on the go and super busy, and families with tons of devices, and we specialize in Apple technology too, which is a key point in what we do. And it's a ton of fun for me, and I'm a super fan. I have an Apple logo tattooed on my back here.
You don't?
I actually do.
No!
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh my gosh. That's how you know you're passionate about your work.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you said around town, the town you're in, just so people know, the city you're in?
Yeah, Vancouver, BC, with my eyes set on world domination. So I want to have multiple cities open, and we're moving to new web systems and all kinds of stuff, and currently have 15 consultants and growing fast.
That is awesome. And as I said, I've actually hired Lucas to help me with I discovered him after we worked together, and the work has been absolutely phenomenal and very different. So speaking of different, so Lucas, what are your Pillars of Genius? Let's start there, and then let's start digging into your dialogue so we can start building out your elevator pitch, your homepage, and your presentations. So what are your Pillars of Genius?
Yeah, sounds good. The first one is, we called it lightness of being. For me, I just really love working with people to lift stress and burden off of their shoulders, and help them have a kind of levity and peace of mind in their thinking.
Okay.
The second one is fighting for meaningful impact. I personally love having a positive impact in the world, and working with change makers and people who really want to, they're on a mission where they want to make their company go big and go global and really have a positive influence in people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
The third one,
Pillar of Genius number three. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I call it caring for the whole person first and technology second. Whenever I work with our clients, I'm always thinking about how will this technology change affect you, and really looking at you and your life in a holistic sort of way. And I love people having that kind of enjoyment from our work. The fourth one is direct humor with a dash of mischief.
Okay, I love that Pillar of Genius. That's cool.
I know. I love. I work with our clients, and I'll usually catch them off guard and surprise them with some quirky jokes or things. And I like it to be a bit of a troublemaker as well. I get that from my dad, and so we have fun. And I always have a really good rapport with our clients.
So what do you mean by troublemaker? I just want to ask that in this Pillar of Genius.
Yeah, troublemaker. Just I don't like the status quo a whole lot. I really like. I love the philosophy of Steve Jobs, of I can't remember the exact quote, but just talking about that he loves working with people who want to sort of rattle the status quo.
Almost disruptive. Yeah,
a little bit disruptive, and that's a big part of what I do. I really love the pursuit of truth and sort of in a global sense. And a lot of society, I think, is not super clear and super honest.
Got it. Okay, so what's Pillar of Genius number? Do you have a fifth one? A fifth Pillar of Genius? Okay.
Number 5 was full personal responsibility will set you free. So I do that in my life. I adopt that. Everything that I do, I really practice ownership over that, including my own personal development, personal growth, how I think, how I move, how I interact with people. I really seek to be responsible for every little thing that I do, and even be responsible for the effects of the things that I don't do.
Ooh.
So like if I'm not staying on top of my books and my finances, then I want to be responsible for the effects of that.
Right. Got it. And that shows up. I mean, you could stand up in court and defend all of these
Oh
pillars of
yeah.
genius, which is exactly what needs to happen. And every one of you guys know this, right? The client alumni, you all know this. You got to stand up in court and defend it. So you could hear from the stories Lucas was just saying about, he got that from his dad, and this is what it's like in his finances, and this is how he invests in personal development work. I mean, you can hear it. You can hear it. Like we could spend more time, but just for the sake of brevity, those are the kinds of examples we want to hear. So this is perfect. Okay, so
Cool.
now we've got your pillars. So now let's work on riffing a little on your PMC dialogue. And when we get to, we're really going to go for, we want 2 core perfect match client dialogue statements that we can play with, so then we can start weaving them in. Just for the sake of brevity, we'll just focus on 2. So let's use, I'm tempted to use, I don't know which one to use. Okay, let's start with the impact one. So your pillar of genius number 2 is fighting for meaningful impact. Okay, so your perfect match client dialogue that comes out of that is basically the kinds of thoughts that your perfect match client has when they're thinking about the problem that you uniquely solve with this particular pillar of genius. So we focus on one pillar at a time. All right, so let's take a look at this one. So what are some of the statements that your PMC dialogue would be thinking in their raw thoughts when they're thinking about the problem?
I think a huge one is just like if I'm them, like I am trying to write this article. I'm trying to get this thing out into the world. I just want to have a positive impact. I want to change people's lives. And is it okay if I swear? Can I swear on your thing? Yeah. This bullshit technology is slowing me down, pissing me off. I don't know what's wrong. I can't send the email. I don't know why. This kind of thing I think is a key thing going on in their mind.
Okay, and so the impact of that, this technology is slowing me down. The impact of that is, and how am I ever supposed to make an impact, or how am I ever supposed to affect people? Does it sound like that?
Yeah, it'd be something like how can I get my voice out? How can I do what I want to do if this is slowing me down every time I try?
There we go. All right. I wanted to close that riff with, we want to close the loop, right? And how is it impacting this client? So how can I get my voice out or do what I need to do? Now, what was it again? Do what I need to do if what?
I can't remember exactly.
The technology is slowing me down.
Yeah, if this technology is slowing me down, probably be something like if this stupid technology is slowing me down.
Yeah, nice rawness. Rawness.
When I was talking to our clients, I got a lot of swear words coming back at me. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I bet you did.
In people's minds, there's a lot of swearing about technology, so it's pretty common.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised because I'm one of them. All right, so let's look at this. You said, how can I do what I need to do if the technology is slowing me down? And then I thought, ooh, that's interesting. So could their PMC dialogue also be something like, I'm trying to move at light speed here to make an impact. And every time, I don't know how it's going to sound, but every time I try to catapult or move or something like this, I hit a brick wall with technology, or there's always something.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to go and move and create, and this is just like, it's like a ball and chain slowing me down.
Okay. I feel like now maybe this is just me, so you've got to decide for yourself. But for me, it's something like there's always something. There's always some error message. There's always some reason.
Some new update, some new problem, some storage full bullshit, like constantly. Passwords, invalid password. How much? Yay for invalid passwords. You want to smash them.
Yeah, exactly. Invalid passwords, storage.
Bullshit
limit. Well, I don't know. Like depends. So with this dialogue, you really want to make a conscious choice, and say, is that the content I want on my website? Do I want swear words on my website, or do I want the feeling of the frustration on my website? Right. So there's lots of websites that have swear words on their website, and it's perfect and it fits and it's exactly what nails the PMC right between the eyes, the perfect match client. Now, in your case, that's either a yes or a no. For you, you might be able to get the energy of the frustration without the swear word. So you would want to make that call, right? It's your business, but you want to.
Until now, I had never considered putting swear words on my website, but I'm actually thinking about it now. We should talk because I think it would actually fly in technology.
All right. Well, you can test that too, right? You can
Yeah.
always do a test in advance. So let's put that to the side, but I'm going to leave them out for today only because I want you to have the most flexibility with your content, okay?
Cool.
So, all right. So then it sounds like the dialogue for this pillar of genius could be something like, let's see. So something like, I'm trying to impact the world, or I'm trying to get my voice out, and technology is slowing me down at every turn. Could it be something like that?
Totally.
Okay.
And I don't have time for this. I don't have time to research. I don't want to deal with figuring this out myself.
Okay.
That's a lot of what I heard from our clients talking to them too, is like that they had way better things to do with their time.
Okay, awesome. So let's see. So how's this going to sound, Lucas? So I'm trying to impact the world. Now, could it be with my business?
Yeah, or even just I'm trying to get this thing out there. I'm trying to send this document or create this blog post.
Yeah, but what we're trying to do is get something that's going to hit your PMC right between the eyes, not too specific. So we don't want to say blog post or email. That might be, by the way, that might be an article you'll write.
Cool.
So you might write an article that starts with, are you trying to get your blog post out to the world because you're trying to make an impact?
I can't get the formatting right or something.
You can't, whatever, right? Yep. Okay, so that could be the article, but that's the specificity for that, for the blog post. Or it could be a social media post. Are you trying to write a blog, but you can't, blah, blah, blah? Click here for support, right? And then it goes straight to your website. So you can use your PMC dialogue in every way you market yourself. All right, but let's talk about something more general because we want it to weave into your elevator pitch, your homepage, and the beginning of your presentations. Those 3 tools are what we're focusing on today. Cool. So why don't we work with the dialogue that says, I'm trying to get my work out into the world because I want to make an impact. Okay.
I love that. That's great.
Okay, so I'm trying to get my work out into the world. Actually, let me take a new piece of paper here. I'm trying to get, and why don't you write this down too, Lucas? Do you have a piece of paper there?
Got my laptop.
All right, awesome. My work out into the world. So we could say because it can make a real impact, or because I want to make a real impact. What do you think?
I would say I'm trying to get my work out into the world and make an impact.
All right. I think it's so I can.
So I can make an impact.
Because your clients, they are trying to make an impact, right? Okay, so let's do that. Because I'm trying to get my work out into the world so I can make an impact. All right. But technology is slowing me down at every turn.
Yep.
Something like that? Okay. So what we did was we took all your PMC, blah, 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 and we kind of pulled the most powerful pieces and stuck them into one sentence.
Awesome.
But technology is slowing me down at every turn?
I think so. I think that's good.
Okay, great. All right, so there is for your pillar of genius number 2, which is fighting for meaningful impact. That's your PMC dialogue that is directly related to pillar of genius number 2. All right, now let's take a look at...
I think this is great because people who really are trying to fight for positive impact, they're really going to feel that. Like they're going to feel the frustration and the annoyance of that, I think. So.
Right, and you make such a good point because you don't necessarily need a swear word inserted into that sentence to feel the frustration.
Agreed.
You can put it in if you want, and maybe when you're in more intimate settings like a presentation or you really know your audience, or you you're writing an email to a particular segment of your audience that you know really well, and you know they're going to, then you can slide her in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So up to you, though. Up to you. Okay.
Very cool.
So that's pillar of genius number 2. All right. Now let's play with another pillar. One more pillar. Let's pull. No, I mentioned in advance we'd do direct humor. So let's play with that one. Okay, so pillar of genius number 4 is direct humor with a dash of mischief. So tell me about what is the perfect match client dialogue going on in someone's head when they're thinking about the problem that you solve with pillar of genius number 4, direct humor with a dash of mischief.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be around like I don't want to deal with a sort of boring and stodgy and what's the word because the average IT guy is just so clinical and logical and boring and condescending and all of these things. Like people,
no offense. Okay. No, but I mean, it is your pillar of genius. It really sets you apart from the pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time training IT consultants, so I know how to beat the condescension out of them.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Okay, so I don't want to deal with a boring, clinical, condescending IT guy or person.
I want someone fun. I want someone interesting who gets me.
Okay. Now, wait a second. Is it someone fun, interesting who gets me or gets what? Is it me that they need to get, or is it something else?
I think a big part of this, humor part for me is a kind of bigger understanding. Like I have a really good understanding of the world and how people work in general, and even business and money and all of these kinds of things. And so, I mean, it's someone like just someone who's savvy, like life savvy almost.
So would it be something like, I don't want to work with a typical IT pro, typical
like nerd. Like I don't want to like an IT nerd or something or
dry. How about dry?
Dry is the word that's good.
That's the word, dry. Okay. Because I'm trying to find a word that's not offense. You're playing in the industry, right? Okay, so something like, I don't want to deal with the typical dry IT guy who only knows technology.
Right. That's great.
I don't want to deal with
it's like the dry IT guy that only speaks in acronyms.
Yeah. Okay. So let's keep it broad for now. Write that down. Though only speaks in acronyms, because there's your next blog post or your social media post, right? Do you want to work with an IT pro who can speak in business language, not just IT acronyms, or not just tech acronyms, right?
Sounds
good. And then your URL. So you can get that to 140 characters, right? So you can see how that can be a social media post because it's more specific. So again, the specificity of it, you can play in that area. But for elevator pitch, homepage of your website, beginning of your live presentations, you want to keep it a little broader.
Cool.
Okay, so it's something like, I don't want to deal with the typical dry IT guy who only knows technology. I want my IT pro, would you say that?
So you can just say, I want someone who
has a personality and who,
Yep.
Okay, want someone who has a personality. Who's a genius in technology and has a personality. Something like that? Would that be? I don't want to put words in your PMC's mouth, so you tell me.
Totally accurate. That's totally accurate. Yep.
All right.
So a lot of the positive feedback that we get from our clients is around that. Like they'll fill out the little feedback form, and we have some on our website now too. So it's scrolling across the bottom.
And that's what they're saying? Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's how you can stand up in court and defend your pillars of genius, is because you have testimonials that speak directly to that particular pillar of genius.
Exactly.
Not only that, I think it's really important for us to recognize here and make a distinction, is you have a company. You've got how many pros? 15 professionals?
15, yeah.
Okay, so you have 15 IT professionals, which means this pillar of genius is not just your pillar of genius. Of course, that's where it begins. Just like with Steve Jobs creating Apple, he has particular pillars of genius like perfectionism, simplicity. I wish I could have done his pillars of genius, but you can just about guess what they are, right?
Yep.
But what he did was his DNA, his pillars of genius flowed through the company. So he created a company that required his pillars of genius to be matched by people who delivered his services, which is exactly what you're doing. So it's a very important thing to make a distinction of. This isn't just Lucas who has the pillars and goodness knows what the rest of his team is going to do. You're actually infusing your pillars of genius throughout the culture of your organization. So that's another way to use pillars of genius, but something that every person who owns an organization needs to be aware of.
Yeah, and it's critical. I totally agree. And like when I do ride-alongs with my team and they experience how I work with clients and they see how well the meeting goes and how much fun it is and also the great results that the client gets, then they're inspired to just be more that way. So it's cool. I love passing it down.
That's a great point of you allowing your employees to see, or your partners to see, the impact your pillar of genius has with your perfect match client.
It's huge, and it makes a huge difference.
That's genius. You're a genius. Okay, so let's look at this PMC. So I don't want to deal with a typical dry IT guy who only knows technology. I want my IT pro to be a genius in technology and have a personality. Something like that? Okay. What about something about I want to look forward to meeting my IT guy? Do you know what I mean? Like, most people dread. It's like, oh, I got to phone the IT guy to come in and work with me for an hour. It's going to be so painful.
That's a huge point, actually. I think that's totally true. I don't know exactly what the language would be. That just
well, you can Velcro on or Velcro off, right? So same start. It could be, I don't want to deal with the typical dry IT guy who only knows technology. I want to actually look forward to calling my IT guy and having him come in to help me.
That's awesome. I like that a lot.
So let's use that one. I want to...
Because that's the feeling that we want to give people.
Okay, so we've got two. All right, so let's pull these back here. So that was Pillar Genius number 4. And like I said, sake of brevity, which we're already in 20 minutes. Can you believe how much we can, time flies when you're having fun, right? So Pillar Genius number 4, the PMC dialogue is, I don't want, and you might want to write this down, to deal with typical dry IT guy. I want to look forward to, who only knows technology, who only can speak technology. There we go. I want to look forward to
the service calls.
What?
The service call or the visit. Well, I guess that would be our word. So they would call it...
nice catch. Nice catch.
I want to look forward to working with them.
Yeah. Or bringing him in. That's what I would say. Bringing him in. Okay. Again, great catch, Lucas. You're right on it.
Trained by the best.
Okay. So now we've got those two. So let's go back to pillar number 2 is direct impact. The dialogue is, I'm trying to get my work out into the world so I can make an impact, but technology is slowing me down at every turn. Pillar number 4, which is direct humor, is I don't want to deal with the typical dry IT guy who can only speak technology. I want to actually look forward to bringing him in.
Very good.
Bringing him in doesn't feel perfect. It's close. Oh, I want to look forward to our time. I want to look for, what do I call it? Appointment?
Yep.
Okay. I want to look forward to our appointment. Would that be it? Appointment?
Yeah, I think all of those are fine. Our meeting.
Okay. All right.
Session.
So now, session? Let's do session. Okay, good. So now let's play with the elevator pitch, okay? So with the elevator pitch, you can start with something like, I work with, blah, fill in the blank, who, and then you're going to use your PMC dialogue.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm going to say...
I would say something like, I work with entrepreneurs who are trying to get their work out into the world so they can make an impact, but technology is slowing them down at every turn.
Yeah. And then you
Yeah.
want to end that with, my name's Lucas Roberts,
Yes. Call Mac and Home. MacandHome.com. I'm Lucas Roberts with Mac and Home.
macandhome.com. Right.
MacandHome.com.
Okay. So I walk up to you at a networking event and I say,
Hmm.
"Oh, Lucas, nice to meet you. What do you do?"
Yeah, no, I work with entrepreneurs who want to get their work out into the world so that they can make an impact, but technology is slowing them down at every turn. My website is macandhome.com.
Okay, that's awesome. So
Mm,
that's like the shortest, tightest possible way you can do an intro and still sit right on top of your pillars of genius, right?
it's awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Now you can also Velcro on. So now let's put both of those PMC dialogues into the same elevator pitch.
Hmm.
Can you do it? Do you want me to
Yeah.
practice the?
I
Okay.
I'll
Man,
try
you're
it. I'll wing it.
quick. You're
Yeah, yeah.
so good.
I work with entrepreneurs who are trying to get their work out into the world so that they can make an impact, but technology is slowing them down at every turn. And they don't want to deal with the typical dry IT guys who can only speak technology. So where they want to look forward to our session. And I have a team in Vancouver, and our website is macandhome.com.
I love it. So how does that
Mhm.
feel?
Feels good. It feels really honest and really clear.
Yeah. It's honest because it's sitting right on top of your pillars of genius. So that's
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, awesome. Great work. And there's so much more playing around we can do. And of course, we've only done 2 pillars. So you can see when you get the other 3, you can Velcro on. If
Mhm.
you've got a nice longer intro, say you're at one of those networking events where they give you 3 minutes or two and a
Mhm.
half minutes, you can see how you can start kind of layering on the pillars and also even adding a little bit of what are the benefits of,
Mhm.
right?
Very
So
cool.
when you're
Like
having
what like
fun
what are the
with
results of working with us?
right. So for example, with the direct humor one, I only know this because you've told me about this with our work, but you could say something like, you don't want to deal with the typical IT guy who can only speak technology. You want to look forward to our sessions because we really have fun in our sessions. And you know what fun does? It actually brings your stress level down, brings your cortisol level down so you can be more creative. And what more do you need to make an impact in the world? You need to be creative. You have to have the creative ideas to make an impact in the world. So that's how our work and your purpose in life come together.
So good.
Sort of making that up, but okay,
Mhm.
great, good elevator pitch. Now let's take a look at your homepage. So a possible concept for your homepage. And this is basically the starting point. You can get a lot more creative, you can add and move things around, but you could have your perfect match client dialogue right on your homepage. So you knock your PMC right between the eyes and allow your non-ideal client to keep walking. And you can use the exact, not only can, should use the exact same messaging because you want consistent messaging along all of your marketing materials. So now take a look at your homepage. And you can imagine on your homepage you could have something like, does this sound like you? Or does this sound familiar? Or you're in the right place if, and boom, boom, PMC dialogue. You can have it in bullet points. So what would that look like as a homepage? Can you imagine it?
I can more than imagine it because we actually just launched a new website on Monday night, and I'm looking at the content now, and it's very general, very vague. And so I was looking forward to working with you on that. I have 4 great sliders that slide by, and they have like a little bold sort of text and a little description, and then it slides away. And so I could literally put like one after another after another.
I didn't know
The
that.
Yeah, it's great. It's perfect for this.
Oh my gosh. Okay, perfect. So what would the first slider say?
Yeah, are you trying to get your work out into the world so you can make an impact, but technology is slowing you down at every turn? Question
Okay,
mark.
huge question mark.
Yep.
And the
Slide.
next slider, what
Yeah.
would it say?
Are you tired of dealing with typical dry IT guys who can only speak technology? Do you want to look forward to your sessions?
Right. So then
Yep.
next slider, and you'll have your other pillars of genius. Boom, boom, boom. That's
It's
awesome.
awesome.
I didn't even know you had that design.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Well, that'll be easy to work with. Perfect. Okay, great. So there's your
And
website.
I just have to add one more slider to have all 5.
Yeah. And you're the guy to do it, I'm sure.
Yep.
Okay, so there's your homepage. Now let's take a look at the beginning of your presentation. So you are about to do a live presentation. You do awesome presentations. So you're about to do a live presentation to an audience. It's not a webinar, is it? Is it live?
No, it's live. Actually,
Great.
this Thursday, I'm speaking to 120 entrepreneurs, so it's perfect timing.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's in Vancouver?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. So at the beginning of your presentation, you can use the same dialogue one more time,
Hmm.
and you're going to use it to introduce, basically, how can I say this? Let's say it the way I always say it. You're going to do it to hit hit your perfect match client right between the eyes and allow your non-ideal client to kind of go, okay, interesting, I might learn a couple things, but you want them to keep walking. So
Right.
one of your first slides, because you want to position it up front, right? You want to
Mm-hmm.
say in the beginning who the presentation is for, or so you could have a slide. You're going to have slides, right?
I can't have slides, but I'm going to have like I've got 3.5 minutes or something like that, so I can just hit the top 3 or 4 main points that I want to set up in this way.
Okay, perfect.
Because basically what I'm talking about is what's my vision and where do I want my company to go. So this is directly in line with what we're talking about.
Sweet. Okay, so you don't have slides, but that's okay because I often do teleseminar presentations, which is just audio, and I don't have slides. So I do the same thing. So you can say something like, you're in the right place if, or you're going to love this presentation if, or you are my perfect client if. So how would you set that up in this presentation?
Yeah, the same thing. I would say something like, you're my perfect client if you're trying to get your work out into the world to make an impact, but technology is slowing you down at every turn.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can just say that. There's your intro to your presentation, then you slide right into your presentation.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to add here for people who do slides is or have a little more time is you can say you're my perfect client if, or you're going to love this presentation if, or you're in the right seat, you're in the right room if. And then you can have boom, 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 like 3 or 4 or 5, right? 1 PMC dialogue for each bullet point. So you're going to love this presentation if you're trying to get your work out into the world, but you can't make an impact because technology is slowing you down at every turn. Or you could say or and, right? And if you don't want to deal with a typical IT guy or dry IT guy, you want to actually have fun with your IT pro and look forward to calling them and asking them to come help you and talk about things about more than just technology. And when your 3 other pillars.
Awesome.
So you could slide those or put those into a slide right at the beginning of your presentation. Now, of course, you can see that we're just using the same content. Elevator pitch, homepage of your website, beginning of your presentation, and so I can add about 5 more things on top of that. Emails, articles, right?
Email signature, totally.
The list keeps going, but we're just playing with these top 3: elevator pitch, homepage, and beginning of presentation, because those are the 3 core marketing materials that you really use to get yourself out there and also allow your PMC, your perfect match client, to self-select in. Those are the 3 core pieces you really need.
Love it.
Make sense? Perfect. So yeah, I think that's a good job. So how are you feeling about those 3 things now?
Yeah, very, very solid, and really looking forward to getting the message out into the world. And that's, again, good timing because I've got the new website and we can get it online in no time.
Great work. Great work. And thank you for being the real client example of how to pull out your PMC dialogue and weave it into your elevator pitch, your homepage, and the beginning of your presentations. That was a great, awesome example.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It was great.
Yeah. So anyone wants to check out Lucas Roberts, he is at macinhome.com. Or are you in our online client community? Are you in there, in our Facebook group? So if you have any questions for Lucas, or you want to play with PMC Dialogue or check out his work or whatever, you guys all work together. You can get into our closed, right? It's just for clients, so online client community, and you guys can all chat in there.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks,
Thank you
Lucas.
so much.
Really appreciate it.